Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. When the Kareena Kapoor and Arjun Kapoor starrer Key & Ka is directed by an advertising professional, it is no surprise that so many brands feature prominently in the film. Brands such as Kit Kat, Dawat Rice, Saffola Cooking Oil, Lakme, Vistara Airlines, Maniha.com have all ridden the Key & Ka bandwagon with the brands integrated into the storyline. How does this brand integration work? How do brands benefit from the association, and what is the benefit that a film gains from such deals? We have all these questions answered as Storyboard editor Anant Rangaswamy speaks to our Balki, filmmaker and chairman and managing director Lowe Lintas Partners India about his new film Key & Ka.
Balki, now do this for dummies. What do you look for as a director when you look for brands, when brands want to associate with your film?
Whether it integrates naturally into the story,
Right.
whether it's, sometimes I integrate brands as part of the story itself. Like for example, she's working at Marico.
Right.
I could have easily done a fictitious company, but that doesn't work. In today's time, everybody knows the brands that people live, breathe, buy brands every day. So I think it's important to kind of associate yourself with the brands that capture the personality of the character or the environment in which he or she lives in. I think that's important. Second thing, I think it's very important never to force fit brands, never to kind of just place a brand, you know, so obviously, because people get irritated, it does more bad for brands. I always advise brands to not do in-film placement unless it's part of the scene. There's a memorable kind of scene which requires the brand, but actually try out for the film for a co-branded promotional campaign rather than be in the film.
Right. So you've got two of those. You've got those which are in the film, and you've got brands which are associated outside of the film. So first, in the film, how do they measure ROI? Now you've got a tie-up with Renault, and you can see the car, but the car's there. You're not selling the car; it's not in your face. So how does Renault justify their own marketing spends in your film?
The marketing spends in the film are very little.
Right.
Where the maximum marketing spends is in the co-brand promotion. In fact, any brand placement in the film is always co-branded.
Right.
There are some that are only co-promoted. There are some that are in film placed as well as co-brand promoted.
Right.
Most of the money goes into the promotion. Right. ROI is then decided like any advertising campaign.
Then I ask you, what do you get out of it? You know, now they've got something out of it. What have you got out of it?
Two things. When a brand is such an integral part of a film tie-up and the placement is there, then there is a revenue involved in terms of monies. But most brands, we look at it as a promotional kind of device. We look at it salience for the film.
Right.
Too. Brands use us, we use the brands.
Right. And tell me now, those films which are not part of the film, like you mentioned a few, Fair and Lovely and so on, they are promotion outside but not in the film.
No.
So how does that association work?
It works if the theme of the film or the theme of the content. See, I don't like cutting ads and just putting a Fair and Lovely placard or something. There must be something in it for the brand, and it must tie up beautifully with the concept of the film. Otherwise, brands get a very force fit. So the brands that have been used here in this film, Saffola, for example. We're talking of cooking. We're talking of a man cooking. We're talking of a progressive brand. Of a man taking care of the health of his family. So Saffola fits in. We're talking of equal, men and women being equal. So Fair and Lovely fits in. We're talking of Lakme marketing awards, which they're trying to kind of do. And we're talking of Lakme styles and Lakme shades, which Kareena is already a part of. We're talking of Dawat, which is a cooking, which is rice, which is part of his daily, job. And Vistara, whereas an airline, which they travel, as she's a businesswoman, she's traveling on the airline very often. And we also shot the climax of the film in the airline. We required an airline to shoot the film. So Vistara was a beautiful tie. Kit Kat, for example, launched their brand Kit Kat Duo with a co-brand promo. They didn't even have a commercial to launch the brand. So Kit Kat, we just said, actually Kit and Kat have got key and car, and the duo have brown and white. So it seemed to be a very good fit for them and us.
No, that was easy and lucky, but brands don't find that.
Most brands require a thought which ties up with the thought of the
Now, who does the thinking? Does it come from the film side of the business or the advertising agency side or the company itself? Where does it come?
Most of the brands on my films, I tend to get involved in the creative, and I tend to kind of give them a way of doing it. If they want to cut it differently, if they want to edit it differently, they're free to go. But I always give them a first cut of saying this is what I think you should do. And mostly they kind of go run with that. So, in fact, I think brands get it free. I mean, brands get a creative also free, and they get a co-branded, commercial.
So Lowe loses out on that.
Most of them are not Lowe brands, because very few are. Lowe's and fees, they don't never lose out anything.
Now tell me, in the case of a film, there's not much a brand knows before the film is made. So how is it that they can get to know, can get involved with the film as early as you would like them to?
Okay, we have let's say, people like Group M, the media companies have product placement wings, which actually read the script. We have worked with them closely on all films. They read the script and they start pitching it to various clients. And they ask me which are the kind of clients you think would fit in. So I would give them a rough indication of this is what I think this would be right for this would be right for this. I would give them very few brands. Then they come up with a lot more options and say, he's interested in this, she's interested in this. All those kind of things happen. Then we kind of take a look at what is most correct for the film, image of the film, image of the brand. I never like to, I don't know why, I don't want to do things for the film. I like the brand to definitely benefit from the film. Because a film will not benefit from a brand except in promotion. Film will benefit only from the content of the film. But a brand can benefit from the film. And brands do take away quite a bit of the expenditure the film otherwise needs to do to promote itself on television, which is quite huge today. But other than that, the brand itself cannot help the film more than that. But the film can.
For you, the success or failure is easy. On Friday, we will know how good the film is. By the weekend, we will know. How does the brand assess how well this promotion is done?
Like all brands assess all advertising, which happens. There's a campaign, there's a period. Okay, you do a study before, you do a study after. What is the shift of this and this and this? How many people have seen it? What is the relevance? What are the scores? Have they moved up, down? They have those same indications. Everything is not necessarily related to sales. Like for a thing like Kit Kat would be related to sales because the launch of a brand. Okay. How would you kind of do a Lakme app? How many people have downloaded the app? That's what you kind of get. That you'll get. But in a FAL, how will you do? It's such a massive brand. How do you even quantify that? Brands like Vistara, they don't immediately ask them to sell tickets, of airlines. But people will. So those are about studies of image parameters. What their the parameters they set for the brand to kind of achieve through this piece of communication should be achieved.
Okay, and then finally, how important it is for you to reject brands which don't fit well with your story?
I've done a lot of it. I've done a lot of it because you can kill the brand and the film if you do that. It's very, very important to choose brands very, very carefully.
Is it tempting to take the money because money is offered?
There isn't a lot of money. The funny part of it is it's not about the money. In fact, most of the brands that we've integrated, not in your face, but kind of it's not about the money. It's always spent in the promotions. All you have to sacrifice is actually, okay, these people may not spend this much on television for the film. But that's better than to kind of say that I will screw up my film by integrating a wrong brand because they want to spend some money on it. So it's not so much money. I don't think there's a lot of greed associated with it. There's a greed of promoting your film a lot once it's done. But first you've got to finish the film. If only the film is good, is it worth promoting?
Absolutely.
So I just believe that it is very wise for brands and films to kind of reject each other really early on in life and not get into a marriage if it harms both anyway.
Perfect. Anyway, all the best, and
thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
And talk about the collections.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.